Yeah, so I was born a very long time ago outside of Budapest in Gödöllő, where the royal residence is. And I was baptized in the royal chapel. And I was not royalty, nothing to do with me. But my father worked for the king, and so he wanted me first to be a military officer, and that's the tradition of our family: priest, military, lawyer. I said, all right, but I want to be a military attaché in China. So that's in a very early age in my life that China was in my mind. And I studied Chinese history, and many other things. In the law, I want to specialize, but we have no such books. So I had to do my own research on court cases about art law, how the court made decisions in a certain dispute between artist and the art owner and so on. And museum law, I loved very much. And also law of the protection of cultural monuments. That was a time when UNESCO started to organize. So since I speak and read German, French, Italian, so Hungarian naturally, but no English in that time. And I was reading the pamphlets what UNESCO sent to the Hungarian government. And I built up myself about this notion. And in 1948, when I finished the law school, I got a job in the Ministry of Education. I said, no, I am in the position, but I don't know so much. So let's take the courses, night classes, in museology, archaeology, and art history. Because when you dig out is archaeology, when you analyze is art history, when you put into the museum is museology. So I made this, and unfortunately I couldn't finish because the secret police arrested me. The political prison camp in Hungary, that was really horrible. First, when they arrested me, they didn't tell me what's wrong, what I did. They told me that I should know. And I said, I didn't know anything. They said, okay, you will stay here if needed up to the end of your life, and one day you will remember. And we will be sorry, but we have to torture you. So we don't like to torture people, but you did not want to tell us, so we have no other way. Just we are sorry. Our heart is with you, but we have to torture you. And they did. But they never told me what really they want. Not never, but in that time, what really they want. And one day, interesting, they told me that if I don't want to talk, they will call, pick up my mother, and cut his breast, and so on. I said, you know, she's don't need any more her breast, so you do it if you want. They were very unhappy, and they beaten me, kicked me in my stomach and face, and so on. You dirty, you rather let us to kill your mother than tell what you had done. I said, you know, you choose it, that they want to cut the breast of my mother after these her ears, and after push out the ears and so on, and the eyes and so on. So they'll do it. What can I do? I cannot stop you. And after I couldn't stand anymore the beating, and I said to them that I heard that the Soviet Union, they can change the flow of the Volga from south to north. And I know also Michurin, who was able to crisscross different genes and made very big cockroaches, like elephant-like cockroaches. But they were able to resurrect my mother, who died more than 18 or 20 years ago. That is amazing. Oh, you can imagine how treated me after. It was very unhappy. And soon they sent me to the coal mine, and I worked in the coal mine. That was a Russian coal mine, because before was a German coal mine in Hungary. And now the Russian took over all the German factories and so on. So we worked there, and it was very rough. 10 days, 8 hours, but you walk down into the place where we worked. It took about more than half an hour, 45 minutes, and back 45 minutes, and 8 hours. So we were absolutely dead tired when we finally got back to our room. I left to Paris, and first one professor did not want to take me, because over there you cannot take the PhD if the professor not agree. So he refused me, but another one helped me very much. He was very much favored with Cardinal Mindszenty, and I mentioned to him that I was accused also at the political prison camp that I conspired with Cardinal Mindszenty and the Department of Interior against Stalin. So he took me, and now in 1961, I almost finished my, I already finished my dissertation when Shuster told me, my rapporteur, they call him French, who is advisor, told me that unfortunately you will be flunked. I said, why? He said, because the professor who did not want to receive you, he pushed himself, talked to the dean and pushed himself to be the head of your committee. And he determined to flunk you, and he put his friends into the committee, and that's it. I said to him, no, I don't afraid. I will do. So I finished the dissertation, and the Algerians made a bomb attack against our American Foundation House where I live. It destroyed my dissertation, so I had to rewrite. It took 2 more years. But at the same time, I received a phone call from San Jose, a professor of mine who actually, during my master thesis examination, he did not want to ask me questions. And the committee members asked him, why are you not asking from this candidate any question? He said, because we taught each other. And that was fantastic. And now he called me that he is going 2 years to Italy and want me to replace him. So my doctoral dissertation was blown up. I have to rewrite. So okay, I will have money. And I flown back to San Jose. In that time was still called college. And I taught for 2 years. And collected more money, put in my bank, and so on. I bought a car finally, a good car, a good Volkswagen, and took with me back to Europe after the 2nd year and presented my thesis. But the day when was scheduled my meeting with the committee, the head of the committee died, who wanted to flunk me. So Shastel became the head of the committee. He chose his own friends, and I received summa cum laude, which is the highest recognition in Europe. Here they call magna cum laude. And I received my doctorate in the Institute of Art and Archaeology in this level. In a very interesting, let's see the archaeology, when you can see just coming out something from the earth. All my photos, when you see, is not when we dig out, when it's coming out from the earth like a childbirth. It's the same for me. I'm not a woman, but usually men also enjoy the newborn baby. But only in the United States, when they allowed men, if it's not faint, so you can see the process when finally a little girl or little boy head is coming out and so on. So I had the same feeling in archaeology. That's ridiculous that somebody told me that's all right. Ridiculous for you, enjoyment for me. When they come out certain things, I said, God, what is this? What is it? And finally I find out what is this, and that is the art history. And you relate to the history, the whole thing. That's why a good archaeologist has to be a good historian, because you roll back from the topsoil to the bottom, you roll back history. And now I got the invitation because they needed, the Smithsonian Institute needed an archaeologist, professor, who will do excavation for the joint Yugoslav-American excavation near Belgrade. And we find over there, for example, a enormous large bones. They were executed. And we find out they executed around the late 12,000 AD. And we find the history, yes, Bela, they called Bela Druga, which means the Bela the second king, was blinded by his own enemies. And when he became the king, he killed all his rivals. And they were buried in this mass grave in Sremska Mitrovica, or Sirmium, where we excavated. And the secret policeman who spoke Hungarian, because he knows I'm Hungarian, you know, everybody knows everything, and in communist land. And he told me, please, hurry up to take those bones. They will think we killed them. I said, you know, must be very bad you're conscious, but I cannot hurry. We have scientifically picked this up, draw, paint, the photo and everything. It takes time. It's several hundreds we are talking about, not one grave. And he said, all right, but I said, you know what? I will put a big sign here. Those were not killed by the present secret police. They were killed by Bela II, Druga, of King of Hungary. He said, don't take joke with me. He said, no, I'm honest. And he did not want. Finally, we decided that we got some sheets from the nearby hospital, and we made around the, covered the area. And now the problem was nobody paid any attention what we are doing, because they excavated over there all the time. So when we covered this, made a fence around, they came, made holes and cooked in, and so on. So it was worse than before. I received a phone call. American educational delegation will go to China. And since I already applied as in the State Department and everywhere, if they have some China program, when Mao died, I did not want to go the Mao type of communism. So I was very eager to go because Mao died, and let's help now, because I learned that they will rebuild the whole country. If they rebuild, they build roads, railroads, schools, buildings, houses, everything, and they have to dig out, like in Italy, wherever you dig out, you find something. The same thing with the 6,000 years old Chinese culture. They will find something and destroy, because this idiotic Mao period, whatever they find, very few they kept, they destroyed, even they closed up museums, put into the basement, and lots of destruction happened with those. When I arrived to the university in Anhui province, they called the Anhui Dashue, and that was one of our destination. And I told to the political officer who received us that I am a Hungarian-born American. I was in the communist prison camp 6 years. I did not come here to take your communism. I come here to teach you. If you want me, I will stay. If not, goodbye. He embraced me and he said, brother. And after he said to me, how many years you were in a prison? I said, 6. Only 6? We were all 10 in the Maoist prison. But now the situation changed, and we engage back to the universities, and we need your help and need everybody's help in the whole world to build up our museums, our archaeology, or everything and everything. So I accepted. We made an excavation about 50 kilometers, which is about 30 miles, outside of Xi'an. They built a paper factory. And now we dig, help to dig, naturally. We have to do together with the Chinese, and I had to sign a statement that I will not publish before they publish, because the government will say, no, foreigners do everything. So I silent collaborator am working, and I felt this is important, that American student will come with me, will be the future specialist in China, and immediately get a contact through the institute with the Chinese specialist, and they can use in their future. That was my aim when I organized the Sino-American Field School of Archaeology. So we did every summer. And what I am doing in China to saving the remains of the ancient culture for the humanities, I believe I deserve to live a little bit more. Because now I'm 85 and a half, still doing, and retired, actually. I am living on my retirement, but I never want to retire. I want to die on action. And now they called my attention, there is a Jewish settlement in China. So I went to see. And actually the settlement not exist anymore, because when Mao came into power, they find out it's not the good place for marketing. So they all went partly to the US, partly to Israel, and England, and so on, everywhere. So I did some research because the government just recently built within the Academy of Social Science a special institute for the Jewish studies. So I was to the archive, helped me because lots of people would speak German. The German type of documents I was able to read, but I don't read the Russian one. So I find plenty of people who help me in Russian, and so on. And I built up and made an exhibition here in Sarasota in the Flonser Jewish Center a year ago. And that was a fantastic exhibition. Everybody liked it. I made a video presentation also about the existing building, the non-existing building, because I find in the archive old photos and so on. And from this I recollected and make this exhibition. In archaeology field, yes, a national science foundation sometimes gives scholarships and dig here, dig there, but you cannot live on it. You have to secure your old age, you have to put aside for retirement and so on. So that's why very good to combine together, to study something beside. And if you really love, like me, I couldn't do anything, just archaeology, art history, and museology in my life. Even I was lawyer, but not, I law student, not actually practicing lawyer. I had a law degree. But in that time, I tried to combine together art law, museum law, and law which related with archaeology. Everything what you study help you. Helped me in the prison in my solitary confinement because I used my mind. All the time, they just went like nothing if they don't torture me, and very often did. But if not, went like nothing because I was organizing everything in my mind, some legal aspects or this and this, and occupied my mind, and I survived.